Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States on January 20, 2025. He wasted no time in setting his agenda in motion. On his first full day in office, he authorized a series of immigration raids across the country. These raids promised during his campaign are part of Trump's hardline stance on immigration. He has vowed to deport millions of undocumented immigrants. He calls them criminals and a threat to national security. The raids have sparked fear and outrage among immigrant communities. Advocates are condemning the move as cruel and inhumane. They argue that most undocumented immigrants are simply seeking a better life. They contribute to the economy and pose no threat to society. The raids are also raising legal questions. Critics argue that they violate the rights of immigrants. They question the legality of Trump's policies. The situation is tense. The raids are expected to continue in the coming days and weeks. It remains to be seen how they will be carried out and what their ultimate impact will be. The nation is watching closely. The outcome of these raids will have far-reaching consequences for immigration policy and the lives of millions of people. The first major raid took place in Chicago on January 21, 2025. Over 100 ICE officers descended upon the city. Their mission to round up undocumented immigrants. The operation targeted specific individuals. These were people with criminal records or deportation orders. The raid, however, caused widespread fear and panic. It disrupted the lives of many law-abiding immigrants. The Chicago raid is a sign of things to come. The Trump administration has pledged to expand these operations. They plan to target other major cities in the coming weeks. The administration argues that these raids are necessary to enforce immigration laws. They say they are targeting dangerous criminals. Critics, however, dispute these claims. They point out that many of those targeted have only minor offenses. Some have no criminal records at all. They argue that the raids are causing terror in immigrant communities. Families are being torn apart, children are being left without parents. The Chicago raid has sparked protests and legal challenges. Immigrant rights groups are mobilizing. They are providing legal aid to those affected. They are also challenging the raids in court. The battle over immigration is just beginning. The Trump administration is ushering in a new era of immigration enforcement. Gone are the days of prosecutorial discretion. The Obama and Biden administrations focused on deporting serious criminals. They also went after employers who hired undocumented workers. Trump, however, is taking a different approach. He is targeting anyone who is in the country illegally. Workplace raids are back. These were common under the George W. Bush administration, but they were largely abandoned by his successors. They were seen as too disruptive and ineffective. Trump, however, sees them as a key part of his strategy. He argues that they are necessary to deter illegal immigration. The Trump administration is also exploring other controversial tactics. One idea is to deport undocumented immigrants to third countries. These are countries that have agreements with the United States. They would hold detainees until they can be deported to their home countries. This policy has been condemned by human rights groups. They argue that it would violate international law. These new enforcement measures are already having a chilling effect. Undocumented immigrants are afraid to leave their homes. They are afraid to go to work or school. They are afraid to report crimes. This fear is rippling through immigrant communities. It is impacting businesses and schools. It is also straining relations between immigrant communities and law enforcement. The current immigration raids are reminiscent of past operations. In the 1950s, the Eisenhower administration conducted mass deportations of Mexican immigrants. Operation Wetback, as it was known, was highly controversial. It led to the deportation of hundreds of thousands of people. Many were deported without due process. The Trump administration's policies are drawing comparisons to this dark chapter in American history. Critics argue that they are fueled by the same anti-immigrant sentiment. They fear that they will lead to the same abuses. The Trump administration, however, rejects these comparisons. They argue that they are simply enforcing the law. They say they are protecting national security and public safety. The future of immigration in America is uncertain. The Trump administration is determined to crack down on illegal immigration. They are building a wall on the border with Mexico. They are restricting legal immigration. And they are conducting raids to round up and deport undocumented immigrants. These policies are facing stiff opposition. Immigrant rights groups are challenging them in court. States and cities are resisting them. And public opinion is divided. the battle over immigration is likely to continue for years to come. It is a battle that will have a profound impact on the fabric of American society.